So Microsoft, first-party studios, and the Initiative, the new studio in Santa Monica, made up of, in part, by some great ex-employees of Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica. Very experienced people working there. Made some great games. They've come together to make a game. They announced it last night on the Game Awards. I'm sure you saw it or you've seen it since, which is their take on Perfect Dark, which, if you don't know, is the game that Rare followed up GoldenEye with for the N64. Not as good by any means as GoldenEye, but it was really cool, and for its time, it was a big hit. Then they did one on the Xbox 360 that was, it was more multiplayer centric, if I recall. It was okay. This is the game that the rumor is it's going to be episodic. I don't hate episodic games. I think a big spy thriller being episodic could be cool. It works on TV if they have their pacing right, if they're able to develop the game in such a way that every 2 weeks they drop another episode, and each episode's an hour to 2 hours. And then if you don't like episodic, you just play it and it all links up. I'm down. I mean, 24 did it. All TV series do it. I think it's great. I just wanted to do a very quick video and mention 3 things now that I've had a couple days to have the data percolate. The first one is terrible trailer. And I don't mean that like I'm being a dick. I mean that like, what are you guys doing? Are you showing this around the studio? This was approved? If this was approved at the highest level, I don't know, man. It was a terrible fucking trailer. It was nicely shot. And I understand that they may not want to sit there and give away much of anything right now. They don't want to tell you about what Joanna Dark's been doing, the protagonist. They don't want to tell you who the bad guys are. I get that. I respect that. I understand the value and the necessity of keeping a lot of your cards close to your vest. To your chest. You keep your cards to your vest. It doesn't matter. You're hiding your cards. In other words, you know what I'm saying. You don't know because now I'm worried there's somebody out there who's, I don't know what you're saying. They can't tell you everything. They can't tell you a lot right now. They got to be secret. Keep it shady. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, fuck you, you're in the wrong place. You got to know that. Point being, ADD, it's no joke, kids. The point being, I get that they want to keep everything quiet and don't want to reveal too much in the trailer. But that was terrible because all they really said a bunch of nothing. And what they did say was very bland. It's like, oh, it's about eco-terrorism or eco-adventure bad guys or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's really not sexy. It just isn't. Movies have done that for a while, had like eco... I'm not saying having eco bad guys is bad storytelling. I'm just saying that that's all they could lay at the audience's feet and say, that and Joanna Dark got a haircut. I'm like, that's really not launching on the best foot forward. You don't have to show gameplay footage. You probably don't have it yet. You don't have to go into the details of the story, but give us something. We're not telling you a lot what's gone on between Joanna Dark's last mission and this mission, but let's just say something happened that you will discover in the game that absolutely changed her life, and who you think you know of as Joanna Dark, it's 180 degrees. I would even argue, if this is me giving the interview, I would even argue that by the end of the first game, and hopefully, or the first episode, you may wonder if she's actually not the bad guy of the series, and there may be a whole new hero that emerges because Joanna Dark ain't what you think. I mean, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying something with some meat on the bone, some pathos, some interest. But it's like, it's about eco bad. Oh, come on, really? So I think it was bad. It's bad. 2 more things. I saw something on NeoGAF tonight when they were talking about this trailer, and I thought they had a really good point. They basically said, what's with all the AAA games these days where the characters are costumed so boringly? And I get it. I get what developers are trying to do. They don't want to go over the I don't mean the sexual stuff. I just mean in terms of the over-the-top, 90s, early 2000s video game design. I think this NeoGAF poster was right. They've gone too far. Not Perfect Dark, but the industry in general has gone too far. It's like, come on. This is your fucking protagonist. This is your fucking hero of your fucking, one of your flagship titles, hopefully. And one of the few IPs that Microsoft has that maybe they can do something with in different media and moving ahead. And she's like, at least in the concept art they showed us, she looks like the girl or the woman in Control. She's wearing jeans. She's got like a jacket and a shirt. And I'm like, really? I get it. You don't want to dress her up like a superhero, but there is an in-between. In-betweens exist, and they have plenty of time on this game. Hopefully they're going to come on, this is your main character. I'm not saying we did it worse or better. I'm just saying that when we designed fucking Kratos, we must have spent a year and a half and gone through about 150 different ideas every couple of months. We'd have 150. Man, that's a lot. But we went through a shit ton of ideas. It took a long time to find that character. I'm not saying they didn't go through a similar thing, but that's where you end up? A lady in some jeans with a soccer mom haircut? Really? Come on now. Final thing I'll say is this concept art that you're looking at right now that they released as part of a developer interview is beautiful. It is great. It is really exciting art. It is terrible concept art because if there's a piece of art behind me, if you can see, that is a Twisted Metal 2 image of Darkseid, the semi-truck, leaping over a freeway, coming out of a big pillow of smoke, racing after Sweet Tooth, and the camera's down. It's looking at them coming at the camera. It's very dramatic. It's very exciting. It's one of my favorite pieces of concept art from Twisted Metal. That's why I have it back there and framed. It's not good concept art. It's good art, but that's not what the game feels like. That's not what the game looks like. And I get it. It's like, and because Perfect Dark's a first-person shooter. And if you look at this art, it's great. But what you don't want to do, in my opinion, as a developer, you want to be careful because you can look at that art. And I get that you can look at that art and you can say, I want the game, the first-person game that we're making to feel like the art makes me feel. And now we have the job of figuring out how do we convey the emotion many people get when they look at this very cool action-packed art. How do we convey that via gameplay? And there might be value in that. But more often than not, what happens is teams do this great concept art. It looks amazing. It's very evocative. It's very cinematic. Amazing, totally non-playable camera angles. And they don't do the second part of going, how do we actually capture the feeling this gives you in our gameplay? The idea, listen to me. I mean, look, it's not too early for the initiative to come out and say, it's first-person shooter. I think they've said that. And here's some concept art. You may notice this concept art is third person. It's very exciting concept art. It's very evocative concept art. Now where we're at as designers is our job is to take that amazing feeling and that sense of action movie drama that you get looking at this art and let us tell you some ways, just at an abstract level, that we are going to translate that feeling into first-person shooter mechanics, right? Something that gives you some sense that there's power here and there's deep, interesting thought here. But boy, I'll tell you, I mean, God, you know I'm a Game Pass fan. I'm an episodic fan. I'm a fan of a lot of these people on this team. I'm not pissing all over Perfect Dark, but it's just another example of Microsoft management. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys, this is your coming out party. And that's how you do it? This is the second, I mean, first Halo, right? I mean, I thought Halo looked like a fun game, but I know a lot of people didn't like the way it looked. Fine, Microsoft agreed. Let's pull it. Let's give it a year's extra time. That's wonderful. But that was a big PR mess up. And now this, really? You're gonna put your first big new IP in years that has a shot from one of your biggest new studios with all this pedigree of amazing stuff, and this is what you're putting out? Come on, man. Somebody at Microsoft, if not the initiative, but let's assume the initiative didn't get it. Let's assume Microsoft, upper management, somebody should have stepped in and said, you ain't launching with that. We got to blow the fucking doors off the Game Awards. We can be the biggest story coming out of the Game Awards people talk about, and it's an afterthought. I'm making a video not because, guys, I saw this thing, it's amazing. I'm making a video because I'm like, this is weird. That's just like one more little weird thing that's happening over at at Microsoft that I wonder about. Still looking forward to it. Just a little weird.